The time is 9:50, September 22nd, 2006. Unfortunately, we have the grueling task of killing our two friends, and they are right in that house just down the street.
We just talked to them. We were there for an hour. But
We checked out the whole house. We know there's lots of doors. There's lots of places to hide. I unlocked the back doors, so it's all locked. Now we just gotta wait, and yeah.
On the night of September 22nd, 2006, high school student Cassie Stoddart was home alone, house sitting for her aunt and uncle. Without her knowledge, two boys had entered her home through the basement door about an hour prior. The boys would use a circuit breaker to turn the lights off and slam closet doors in an attempt to scare Cassie, before stabbing her 30 times and fleeing the scene. The boys would be arrested 5 days later, and through interrogation, they would lead police to a VHS tape containing horror film-esque footage of their plans to kill Cassie and their motivations in the days prior. These are the tapes of Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk. Cassie Stoddart, Brian Draper, and Tori Adamczyk, ages 16 and 17, were all students at Pocatello High School in Idaho, and seemed to be friends. It's unknown for how long Brian and Tori were planning on murdering Cassie, or why they chose her specifically, but the footage begins 6 months prior, in March of 2006. The way the footage is saved onto the tape jumps between March and the month in which the murder happened, September, so I've organized the clips into chronological order for convenience. However, the footage from March is practically negligible, as it only consists of someone playing the drums while Brian records. Jumping ahead to September 21st at 8:05 p.m., Tori is driving while Brian is filming as they discuss their plans for the following days.
We're going for a high death count.
we're not going not to get caught, Brian. If we're going for guns, we're just going to end it. We're just going to grab the guns and get out of there, kill everybody and leave.
We're going to make history. We're gonna make history.
For all you FBI agents watching this, you weren't quick enough.
We were quick enough, and you weren't smart enough. And we're going over to Nixon's house. We're gonna go snoop around over there and try to see if she's home alone or not. And if she's home alone, splat! She did.
Don't put your humor into this, Brian.
I'm not putting any humor into it. Yep. People will die. Memories will fade.
Memories will fade. I wonder what movie you got that from, Brian.
Myself. That was for myself.
No wonder it was so lame.
Okay, we're on our way, and I'll let you stay tuned. We're almost there.
From what it sounds like, Brian and Tori aren't just planning to murder one person, but many, when they say, we're going for a high death count, and that they're going to kill everyone and leave. Luckily, these plans would never come to fruition, as we know that they were arrested soon after Cassie's murder. Strangely enough, Brian and Tori aren't actually driving to Cassie's house. Brian mentions that their victim's name is Danny Dixon, and that the two boys are going to see if this person is home alone, and if she is, murder her. Jumping ahead about 2 minutes, Brian and Tori have arrived at their victim's house, only to find out that she's not there.
Dixon's house. It's clear out there in the pasture. We've already snooped around her house a couple times. She's not home, so we're gonna go to the church over there, and we're gonna call a girl and a guy named Cassie and Matt. They're our friends, but we have to make sacrifices. So I feel tonight it is the night, and I feel really weird. It's not my stomach and stuff, and I feel like want to kill somebody.
After giving up on killing Danny Dixon, Brian decides that they're going to call up Cassie and her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, with the clear intention to find out if they're home and murder them.
I know that's not normal, but what the hell?
I feel we need to break away from normal life.
How bright is this light?
Because, let's put it this way. Parents, along with their parents, and so on, taught them about God, Jesus, the whole bullshit line. I'm sure you guys believe in God as well. I realized when I was in 7th grade, you don't believe in Santa Claus or vampires or werewolves. They're used to metaphor, not to let, they teach their kids back in the 1800s, I learned this in English class, about telling their kids that you can't go outside or a vampire will get you, just to make their kids stay and do what they want to do. God is basically the same way.
Yep.
Trying to get people to do good, or else, so-called, you go to hell.
The boys' justification for the upcoming murder mainly derives from dissent against religion and laws. As Tori explains, he wants to break away from normal society because it's an endless cycle of parents instilling fear into their children so that they follow the rules. People in positions of power have created false ideas of what is right or wrong, when in actuality, humans should do whatever they feel like, because nothing is good nor evil. It just is. 5 minutes later, and Brian and Tori are on their way to Cassie's house, explaining their plan to lure Matt outside by making a loud noise and killing him in an attempt to scare Cassie. As explained by the boys after their arrest, much of their inspiration for murder comes from the classic horror movie Scream. This explains why they're planning out a more dramatic way to kill Cassie and Matt. Their aim is to make their own real-life horror movie, hence why they're recording everything. After driving for over 20 minutes, Brian and Tori still seem intent on making their way to Cassie's house. However, this time, they mention a girl named Kierthan.
Our first victim is going to be Cassie, Stoddard, and her friends.
God, turn your brights off, asshole!
Well, yeah, we'll find out if she has friends over. She's going to be alone in a big, dark house out in the middle of nowhere. How perfect can you get? So we're going to kill her and her friends, and we're going to keep moving on. I heard some news about Kirsten. She's going to be home alone from 6 to 7. So we might kill her, then drive over to Cassie's thing, and scare the shit out of them.
Obviously, this doesn't make sense, as the time is nearing 8:40 p.m. Knowing that the murder of Cassie Stoddard took place on September 22nd, not September 21st, I believe that Brian and Tori have already started planning for the following night.
September 22nd, 2006. We're skipping our 4th hour. We're writing our plan right now for tonight. It's gonna be cool.
Fast forward 12 hours, and it's the morning of the 22nd. The majority of Brian's tape consists of the two boys skipping 4th period to plan out not only Cassie's murder, but of many other students as well. Most of what's said in this segment is irrelevant, but there are some parts that are absolutely harrowing.
Yeah, if you're watching this, we're probably deceased. So it's pretty creepy. I just thought of that.
Idiot.
Whatever. Well, life's life. That's what happens. You die. Carry the box and you're like, yeah. What is supposed to happen tonight. So hopefully Nothing will go wrong. Everything will go smoothly. And we can get our first kill done, started, and we can keep going. It's fucking crazy.
For you future serial killers watching this tape, I don't know what to say.
It's
Good
really
luck
fun.
with that.
Yeah. Good luck.
Hopefully you don't have to go through 8 or 9 failures like we have.
Yeah. We've probably tried maybe 10 times, but they've never been on their own, so.
Or when they have, their parents show up.
As long as we're patient, you know, and we were patient, never getting paid off because our victims home alone. So we got our plan all worked out now. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cassie's family, but she had to be number one. We have to stick with the plan, and she's perfect. So she's gonna die. And their massacre lasted 45 minutes. And ours was probably gonna last like 2 weeks.
What happened? Really? Only 2 weeks?
Well, it just depends if we're smart or not, dude. If we're not,
You think we could get fun of it? Oh my gosh.
I think we'll do it up. Maybe 8 kills. What the hell are you doing?
I'm thinking, like always, 20.
20 kills.
That's a lot of kills.
That's a lot of people to kill.
But there's a lot of people in this party.
I agree. Breaking into houses in you, so.
I know.
3-piece. Shouldn't you be in class? Sir? Well, we're taking a documentary right now.
Oh, sorry. I just don't know.
No, it's cool, it's cool. We're just documenting, you know, just for school. For school projects. I guess, well, yeah, I guess you call it project, right?
Yeah.
We're here in his car. The time is 9:50.
On the night of the 22nd, Brian and Tori find themselves down the street from Cassie's house, fully ready to murder her. Here's what went down. That night, Cassie was house sitting for her aunt and uncle who were out of town. Around 6 p.m., her boyfriend Matt Beckham arrives, and later, both Brian and Tori arrive as well. The four of them watch a movie before Brian and Tori leave early. However, while touring the house, Brian had unlocked the door into the basement so that they could later re-enter the house undetected.
Down the street.
We just talked to them. We were there for an hour. But
We checked out the whole house. We know there's lots of doors. There's lots of places to hide. I locked the back doors, so it's all locked.
The two boys put on white masks similar to what you'd see from a horror film and quietly re-entered the house through the basement door. As was previously mentioned, Brian and Tori made loud noises to lure Cassie and Beck downstairs, but when that didn't work, they used a circuit breaker to turn off all the lights in the house, eventually turning them back on when nobody came downstairs. At around 10:30 p.m., Matt's mom would come pick him up and tell Cassie that she could come stay at their house for the night. Cassie declined and was eventually alone. Brian and Tori heard Matt leave and turn the lights off again. It was then that they would make loud noises around the house in an attempt to scare Cassie, before murdering her with a dagger and a hunting knife.
Just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh. That felt like it wasn't even real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the up. We gotta get our act straight.
It's okay. Okay, let's buy movie tickets now.
Okay.
Come on, goodbye.
No.
Goodbye.
And that's where the tape ends. The two boys were arrested 5 days later and charged with first-degree murder. They led police to an area in Black Rock Canyon where they had stashed away their weapons, masks, a burnt note possibly from when they were at school planning Cassie's murder, and the VHS tape. The two were convicted the following year, and both sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, and 30 years to life for conspiracy to commit murder. Now all we're left with is this disturbing bit of media made by two disgusting humans who will never be able to undo the damage they've caused. Though this happened 17 years ago, my heart goes out to the Stoddart family, and hopefully by now they've found peace. Rest in peace, Cassie Jo Stoddart. Reddit is never short of strange users and posts to cover, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that I have a mountain of content to work with concerning this website. Tonight, we're going to be looking at a user that I've never seen discussed outside of only 2 forum posts. A user that is trying to spread their strange prayers to every corner of the internet. And while this mystery isn't exactly creepy, it is intriguing. So sit back and relax as I unravel the mystery of Chaul Jhin Kim and Finn McMillan. About 2 weeks ago, as of writing this script, I found a 3-year-old post on r/internet mysteries detailing OP's strange interactions with a now deleted user. I found something interesting today while looking through my Reddit history. I found a thread I took place in a few months ago in r/change my view, where one user I responded to, who had a completely normal response when I first responded to him, had now edited his message to read the following: "Dear God/gods and or anyone else who can help me, e.g. members of super intelligent alien civilizations. The next time I wake up, please change my physical form to that of Finn McMillan of South New Brighton at 8 years old and keep it that way forever. I'm so sick of this chubby Asian man body. Thank you. Chaul Jhin Kim, aka a desperate soul." I dismissed this as some troll who hacked the account, or maybe the original user himself was trolling. But when I looked the message up, I saw multiple instances appear on numerous different websites online that seemed to have nothing in common, including a Bitcoin message board, a Spanish post from 2006 discussing grunge, and a post from 2007 about soy milk. There is also a website referenced named www.chauljhin.com, which no longer exists. If I find anything else, I'll post it in the comments, but for now, I have no idea what this is. Commenters then began to link their own instances of where they've seen a message, including in real life. Twitter and Reddit users from New Zealand have been making posts about receiving these messages in the mail for several years now. While most of the letters are just copy-pastes of the original message, this one, posted to Twitter almost 2 years ago, reveals the 4 specific things Jhin is praying for. Step 1. Please change my physical form to that of the individual in the photograph at 3,072 days, approximately 8.4 years, and keep it that way forever. The child in the photograph must be the aforementioned Finn McMillan from South New Brighton. However, I can't confirm this, as a reverse image search brings up no results. Step 2. Please give me the power of omnipotence. Give me stewardship over every creeping thing upon the earth, and of course, over that of man himself. Step 3. Please enroll me in an individualized 1-year course where I can learn to hone my skills in a safe environment. That is, the skill of omnipotence. You will be my mentor, and I will be your student. Step 4. Please send me back in time to June 28, 2009, at the University of Cambridge. It was during this time at this location where the late Stephen Hawking hosted his time travel party. I want to attend this party. I have big plans for humanity and wish to usher in a new age of peace and prosperity, but I cannot do this without your help. Over the next few days, I will be performing CE5 extraterrestrial contact attempts at various locations in Palmerston North. If you're reading this, please pray and/or meditate for me. Together we can make our dreams come true. Attached to the letter is an email, contact@project2009.com, and the name, Chaul Jhin Kim. So what's going on? Who is Chaul Jhin Kim, and why is he trying to spread his message to everyone he possibly can? Copy-pasting the original message into Google shows precisely what OP was talking about. Most of the time this message appears in either posts or comment on Reddit. On these miscellaneous forums, the poster's username is some variation of the name Chaul Jhin Kim, while on Reddit they simply appear as a deleted user, with no trace of what the username might be, not even on the Internet Archive. The only information we can gain so far is that Jhin must be from somewhere in New Zealand, specifically from the city of Palmerston North, considering the aforementioned letter and the fact that the letters are posted about in r/Palmy. It was with this information that OP was able to find an article posted almost 10 years ago about a man who confetti bombed the toilets of a university in New Zealand. This man was the 21-year-old Chaul Jhin Stephen Kim. A man who was angered by an email he received from a University of Otago administrator threw confetti bombs into the toilets at the Dunedin University because he wanted to inflict as much pain on the university as possible, he told police. They had to rake confetti from the urinals, wipe jam off walls, and pick out glass shards from inside toilet bowls. The prosecutor said Kim received an email from an administrator at the university on July 1st. Kim took exception to the contents of the email and decided to exact retribution. Between August 1st and November 4th, Kim made confetti-type material from paper, bits of hard plastic, small pieces of metal, and shards of broken wine bottle glass. When he had made a large amount of the confetti bombs, he bundled it up, took it to the men's toilets at the university, and threw it into the urinals, onto the floor, and into toilet bowls. Now it's never said what the email was about, but whatever it was upset Jhin, most likely leading to his removal from the university after the incident. This information is great and all, but it doesn't directly help us with the mystery at hand, nor does it confirm that this is the same person writing the messages. Or does it? On June 18th, 2020, almost 7 years after the incident, a post was made to bitcointalk.org by a user named Mt. Gox, asking users on the forum to change their signature to a certain message, with every person who changes their signature winning a large sum of money. If you have an account that is 1+ years old and no longer using, then change your signature to the following and shoot me a PM with your Bitcoin address or post a reply in this thread. Dear God/Gods, please let Chaul Jhin Kim win the New Zealand Powerball jackpot. He will use the money to set up his own research lab and find the cures for cancer and aging. He will release the cures into the public domain. Everyone, regardless of wealth, will no longer need to suffer. Childhood cancer will also be history. Thank you, a faithful believer. P.S. If anyone is reading this, then please pray with me. Every Wednesday and Saturday, I will purchase a ticket in the Powerball draw. If I win the top prize, 10% of the winnings will be allocated to accounts displaying the signature. Due to the lack of a follow-up post and the fact that this type of message only appears in 2 places online, I assume that Jhin eventually gave up on trying to win the lottery and switched his message from that to praying to turn into Finn McMillan from South New Brighton. However, the end of the message gives us a bit of a clue on why Jhin is trying to spread his prayers everywhere. If anyone is reading this, then please pray with me. It seems likely that Jin's entire purpose is to get as many people as possible to pray for him so that he can achieve one of his many goals. This would explain why he altered all of his comments and posts to contain the message before deleting his Reddit account, because if the original post or comment contained this message, it would probably just be taken down as spam. Nevertheless, I brought up this forum to try and make sense of Jin's past. The University of Otago does have a good health science program, so it's entirely possible that that's what he was studying before he got kicked out. Those were my original thoughts, strung together by guesses, as there's practically no information on this guy outside of his own posts. But by a stroke of luck, all these theories and more would eventually be confirmed by none other than Jhin himself. Jhin was aware that people were intrigued by his messages, so on May 17th, 2021, from a now deleted account on the Lost Media Wiki, he decided to explain himself in the comments of a post discussing the mystery behind his messages. I find it sad to think that people think I'm a troll. I've been banned from numerous communities in the past, all under the mistaken assumption that I'm some sort of bizarre troll trying to stir up trouble, but I'm not. I had dreams of becoming a biochemist. I wanted to work on curing cancer and aging, but in 2013, my dreams were cruelly snatched away from me by the University of Otago administration. So I moved on to Plan B, which was to win the Powerball jackpot with the help of God so that I can pursue my dreams outside of the traditional academic system. I was buying lotto tickets left, right, and center, yet fast forward to 2021, and every ticket for the past 10 years has resulted in a dud. I also prayed to God to be sent back to 2009 so that I can purchase Bitcoin at a few cents each, or mine my own, and in effect, get the same result as a lottery win. But every time I woke up, I would find myself in the then present year. In other words, despite all my efforts, there's been no response from God, so I decided I had enough and crafted my request for transferal of omnipotence, which is an offer that still remains open to this day. I believe that God is doing a terrible job at being God, and I would like to step up to the role of becoming God. As God, I'd be proactive in ensuring the happiness and healthiness of mankind, unlike our current one. After going on a rant about trying to contact God via electromagnetic means, Jhin then brings up the topic of his many messages around the internet. Consider the simulation hypothesis. The idea is pretty straightforward. Basically, if you're playing a game of The Sims, and one of your Sims is constantly bugging you with messages about something they want done, then there's a chance that you might eventually relent and respond, even if you would normally follow a pretty neglectful style of gameplay. Eventually, one of those messages could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Likewise, eventually one of my prayers could be the straw that breaks God's back. By proliferating these prayers into our cosmos, I hope to become the Sim that changed God's mind. When asked if there's proof to confirm that this is, in fact, Jhin speaking and not an imposter, Jhin says sure, and links a text file to his now deleted website titled proof.txt. No trace of proof.txt exists on the Internet Archive, but supposedly it contained both Jin's username for the Lost Media Wiki and the username of the person who asked for proof. Even without proof.txt, I'm inclined to believe that this is Jhin, just because everything he said makes sense, and the way he speaks matches up with the prior messages. So there you have it. Jhin almost fully explains his motives for spreading his prayers to every corner of the internet. He's just very, very dedicated in his journey to become God and cure humanity of all ailments. However, there still stands one significant question. Who is Finn McMillan? The identity of Finn McMillan is probably something you've been wondering about this entire time since I've neglected to mention it, but that's because I think it deserves its own segment. In all the prayers besides the one about winning the Powerball, Jhin mentions that he wants to turn into a boy named Finn McMillan from South New Brighton, specifically at the age of 8.4 years. Giving the name Finn McMillan a quick search brings up this lone article. 8-year-old rapper accidentally catches Christchurch earthquake on camera. In 2011, a 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck the city of Christchurch, New Zealand, killing 185 people and earning the title of New Zealand's 5th deadliest disaster. The article details a young boy named Finn McMillan who happened to be filming as the earthquake began. At the time of recording, Finn was 8 years old, and at a friend's house in the suburb of South New Brighton. I think it's fairly obvious that this is the kid Jhin is referring to. But why? What does this have to do with the aforementioned mystery? Shortly after I discovered the original 3-year-old post on r/internet mysteries, I noticed that someone had commented on it less than a month ago. Their username? An anagram of the name Finn McMillan. LMAO, this is a post about me at 8 years old. No way, Omega lol. Trust me, homie, you do not want to be me. Seeing this, I immediately thought it was some sort of coincidence. Surely the Finn McMillan hadn't found this old and extremely strange post about him, nonetheless at the same time I did. To confirm, I did a bit of searching through his Reddit account. Multiple of his posts mention him being located in the Oceania servers for games such as Valorant and CSGO. Searching up his Reddit username, we can find his Twitter account, where in the bio it says, "Playing video games and since 2003. Assuming that's when he was born, it would have made him 8 years old at the time of the Christchurch earthquake. So now I'm fairly certain that this is the Finn McMillan who Jhin wants to turn into. I decided to reply back to Finn and ask, do you have any clues as to why he would want to be you? And to this, Finn said, bro, no. I sucked as an 8-year-old, and I suck now. LMAO. Fair enough. I assume it's safe to say you don't know who this Chaul Jhin Kim is then. I have yet to receive a second response. I'm going to assume that Finn has no idea who Jhin is, as he seems just as confused as all of us, and I don't blame him. I'd be equally confused and freaked out. On the 29th of January, 2015, the following post was uploaded to 4chan's paranormal board, detailing OP's encounter with a nearly dead god. This is, personally, one of my favorite stories from X, so allow me to read it for you. Hello X. I'm not well versed in the spoopy, so let me just tell you a story. A few weeks ago I was at the library and I found a book called Imperial Dogmatic Spherical Holes, which means who knows what the What struck me about the book was the obviously amateurish binding, as if it didn't belong there, and there was no library sticker on the spine. Sure enough, I take it home without checking it out, no sweat, because it looks X-ish. Mostly the book makes no sense, other than the introduction, which is about how you're supposed to be high on cough syrup, or the rest of the book won't make sense. After the introduction, it's just a bunch of mostly English gibberish, plus pictographs and seemingly random squiggles. I forget about it for a few days, until later when I'm bored and want to get high. So I think, what the hell, and drink about enough cough syrup for a third plateau trip. And crazily enough, the book starts making sense. And even crazier, it seems to be directions to some lost age of wit. And even crazier, the book speaks extensively about the town I live in and the events that have taken place in the last few days, even though I got the book weeks ago. But of course, I'm high, so it's just part of the ride to me. Anyways, the book tells me to go to a cave near my house and not read further until I do, because I need something there for the following pages to make sense to me. I try to read further anyways, but the pages are just blank, although a dark gray color. I decide to go to the cave because #YOLO. Continuing in the next post, but it'll be a sec because I'm typing this as I remember it, if anyone gives a I'm listening. Do you do any other drugs, OP? Like psychedelics? I don't do drugs at all often, and I don't have a connection even if I wanted to. When I get to the cave, the next pages are no longer gray, but instead detail some kind of dance that I'm supposed to do, and I start laughing out loud. It says stuff like, wave your arms to the east and repeat the syllable low 3 times, or whatever. By now you've predicted that I did it. Duh. The syrup feels like it's getting stronger, and suddenly I go fully out of it, and now I'm standing in front of a waterfall with a cave behind it. There's a creepy figure standing behind the cave. It looks like a mostly featureless human with bluish-gray skin and a simplistic face, as if it were carved out of stone. At this point, I'm going to stop trying to set up the drama, because I'm a shit writer, but basically what happened was this entity told me its name was Lomack, and that he was a nearly dead ancient being once called a god, and that he found it interesting that a human would bother with him again after all this time. So I stand by the waterfall for what seems like forever and talk to Lomack. I don't really remember seeing his face move, and I can't really remember a voice either. It's more like I could just feel what he was saying to me, and I knew that he was male-ish. Lomack tells me that he's from a time before recorded history, when men were half men, and religious ideas were barely even coherent. He says that he has become ignorant of Earth and almost forgot about it until I showed up. And after he picks my brain for what things are like nowadays, he says that he could be considered an early god of magic/sorcerers. Then he asks why I came, and I tell him about the book. He doesn't know who wrote the book and says that he barely knows or cares how it works, but that if I feel compelled that what I'm experiencing is the truth, then it would be possible to revive him on Earth if I want. So why not? We spend what seems like another eternity by the waterfall, and he supposes that he needs a sigil now. So I make the thing I posted in the original post under his direction. I guess that's the official sigil of Lomack now. He says that he expects nothing from me as his prophet, and having a large mass of followers does not concern him. His mantra the entire time seemed to be expect nothing, and he was generally a really chill, possibly imaginary dude to talk to. Some other things I know about or determined with Lomack. The color of Lomack is blue. Lomack will be known by his sigil, but he is also represented by a blank, stone-like face as he was in the early days of Half Men, and as he is represented in the Lost Age of Wit. Still don't know what that is, and he only vaguely alluded to it. The number of Lomack is 5, because a man has 5 fingers, 5 limbs sprout from his trunk, and he is composed of several other 5s. Lomack does not decree, but speaks when it is necessary through his followers who honor him. Lomack details to me the specifics to make an altar for him, and various other details that gods apparently care about, although he seems less strict than, say, traditional religious scriptures. I'll post some if anyone cares. Eventually I wake up back at the cave, but the book is gone. I'm still blown as though on the syrup. Felt like I had a moment of clarity while at the waterfall, but now that I'm back to the real world, I'm high again, and I can't even think straight. I make it back to my house and a little later draw the sigil on my computer, plus write various things I can remember about the experience, and thus concludes this epic tale. So what is it, X? A demon pretending to be a god, or an actual forgotten god of ancient times? I don't know much about occultism. Does anything about this sound even remotely familiar? He's probably as he says he is. We should totally revive him. He's a part of our history. Congrats, OP. You're like a drugged out, neckbeard Indiana Jones. Seriously though, that was awesome. Well, what do you want to know? Looking at half this stuff, it mostly seems like gibberish now. I wrote some of it when I was still kind of high. I wrote a 10k plus word document that looks like a half story about a bunch of people carrying a bunch of pillars from one side of space to another at one part, some songs, and more. I guess the most germane thing is the altar. To make an altar to Lomack, you make a 5-pointed star with each line as long as a man's forearm, in the earth, or more permanently, a raised altar of stone with a height divisible by fingers of 5. Lomack's sacrifice is a clay pot smashed on his altar with a fist or stomped, with a piece of human tissue inside it. Then you can apparently speak to Lomack. Post a song. I don't know how this is a song, but it says it's a song. Next acquired. 1. Black candle was made. 2. Black candle is made. 3. black candle will be made. 4. Get yourself a gray license. 5. Red line. Stop. Now a coming to. Listen closely. Find with your ears, and it does not pass hay label. It was not found for mine, or alternates, to find out with brothers. Moses Moseki. Over land or wind, take it a braid, but again. Do not pass hay label, understand me. See to you what you see to others, or perhaps to explain. Forms and cities with that past form. Majestic declares to you several promises. One promise for last, and even now, in the second shield. Forthcoming sigil for a anthropolitical some version about the red line. Vultrum plus vultures of gluttony hearsay, in constructive cementations lament side, Ashpeldon. Whoever found that not to be an exemplar was too furious. Hormonally speech, patterns within the silk revealed in time, though to time no venture, time is over. Members of the thread begin singing and recording their own versions of the song provided by OP, and while all traces of the songs seem to be scrubbed from the internet, their testimonies remain. Anon, who sung the song here. I have something weird and funny to report. Today, as I was arriving at the train station, where I pass through when I go to school, an old man with a foreign accent talked to me, but it was more like yelling, about a train station and where it was. And as I was saying, you better go ask the... He says, no, look, train station 5, it's here. He points and I look back and see the 5, station 5, and think, yeah, it's here. As I walk off, I think, boy, that was weird. And as I start thinking about it, I remember this thread, and the number 5 being Lomack's number. And as I'm exiting the station, I look at the big clock at top of the door. Both needles are pointing to 5. Multiple users plan to attempt the ritual of smashing a pot containing human tissue, just as OP described. However, no one ever seemed to follow through, being too scared to summon Lomack, or never having any intention to do so in the first place. Eventually, OP said his goodbyes, explaining that it's up to the reader to determine whether they think this story is real or not, before leaving the thread forever. I don't think I'm allowed to recommend performing this ritual, but to anyone that's already smashed the pot, so to speak, feel free to come forward with your stories. Maybe the real Lomack was the friends we made along the way.